Hi everyone, this is Ryan with Lundquist Appraisal Company, and today I wanted to offer some insight into the Sacramento area real estate market. I get asked this question quite a bit. How's the real estate market doing? And in fact, the other day I was in Starbucks and I was waiting for a coffee and had about 30 seconds to talk. I ran into a local realtor and she said, "How's the market?" And usually this isn't a very quick answer because there's a lot that really goes into answering that question, which I want to show you today. Let's look quickly at a Lincoln, California neighborhood to give insight into how I answer that question. One of the things I do as an appraiser is that I crunch numbers. I pour through data and research, recent sales and listings to determine how much is your house worth. When looking at the city of Lincoln, let's look at all sales first. Over the past 3 years, you can see clearly there's been a decline in property value. At the upper end, sales definitely aren't selling at the same level as they were, and sales are selling now lower than they were before. And so that's definitely important to consider when I'm doing an appraisal. Unemployment rate right now in Lincoln is at 21.3%. This is actually the highest unemployment rate in Placer County out of any cities or census designated places. And that could definitely impact real estate values, don't you think? Let's look at a specific neighborhood. Just off of Highway 65, I've defined my neighborhood in the Lincoln Crossing area by the black border you see, and all my data will be pulled from this area only. So we can see the neighborhood sales in this area over the past 3 years. Clearly they've declined in value. It looks like the median price level was somewhere around $425 or so about 3 years ago. Right now it's about $250, and so there's been about a decline of about $175,000, and so that's significant to look at. But let's look at the past year of sales, because when we look at the trend line here, it looks a whole lot more horizontal or stable or balanced as opposed to what we saw before, a massive decline. And so that's definitely important to take a look at. And more specifically, when I'm doing an appraisal, say the property I'm looking at now is 2,200 square feet. Well, I want to know what similar properties have sold for, so I've put a parameter on the data, properties between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. Here's the trend line too. Looks fairly stable, maybe have decreased slightly from the beginning of the year. That's definitely an important consideration. Neighborhood numbers. You can see the median price level for all sales in the neighborhood. It dipped from $269,500 to $261 over the course of the year. But over the past 6 months, you can see that the median price level has gone from $259 to $261. It's been fairly consistent, and that's pretty important to look at in the market. Now, if we're looking at properties between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet, you can see too the same trend. There's been a whole lot more stability over the past 6 months. In this neighborhood, we've seen 54% of all sales were bank owned, and 24% of all sales over the last year were short sales. There's 34 sales over the past 30 days. And one thing too I do to answer this question, how's the market doing? Well, let's look at the inventory. There's been 34 sales that have sold over the past 90 days, but what about right now? How many properties are on the market? Well, there's 11 actives, 26 active short sales, 46 active contingent short sales. Contingent means that there's an offer in on the property already. It just hasn't hit pending. And then there's 36 pendings. So you can see clearly there's only really 37 available properties in this market, because the rest are spoken for, they have a contract, and so the supply is fairly normal in this market, and that's definitely interesting to note and good to note when we think about the health of the market and how the market's doing. If there were 150 actives, then we'd think, uh-oh, there might be a little bit of a problem because these are going to take a long time to sell. So how's the real estate market doing? Can you see now that it's definitely a more complex question? If we're at Starbucks for just 30 seconds, we might not get the full picture. But I've only shown you today some of what I do as a real estate appraiser, and I'm definitely available for more questions and to give you insight, and definitely to do appraisal work for you, whatever those needs would be. And so you can reach me on my website at lundquistcompany.com or call me at 595 888-888-3735. I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for your time.